Hello, welcome to Wrestleopinionated. This is our weekly show all about the shows of AEW. We are your hosts. I am Morg, and this is...
The Pied Piper of Kidderminster, Matt Strange, and this is...
aimlessly looking for his notes, Muir.
Oh, good lad, he's ready.
you better explain that one, Strange, because...
The Pied Piper of Kidderminster.
Enough. We don't need to go on about
right.
it.
So this weekend I was down in Kent visiting my other half's family, and her brother and sister-in-law have many children. They like adopting kids who are, had bad lives and stuff. And I was claimed by a 5-year-old who basically decided I was her best friend for the entire weekend. I think I spent 7 hours dragging her around a house, playing GTA, throwing her in the air, doing forward rolls. That was on day one.
So you're at the performance centre, are you?
Yeah, exactly that. But every time I end up hanging out at some kind of family party, some child between like the ages of toddler and early teen just looks at me and goes, "That man's going to be my best friend."
Better than talking to adults, though, mate.
Mate, I walked into the kitchen. We're at this big thing. I'm in a back room with this kid falling asleep on me playing GTA 5. She doesn't know what she's doing, so it's okay. It's not like giving a kid an adult game. And I wandered into the kitchen to get a drink, and they were discussing like just politics and blah, blah, blah. And I just went, I just got a drink, just went back to the 5-year-old.
Straight back to the children.
Yeah. Then we played with the tortoise for a bit. That was cool. But yeah, no, kids love me, which is weird as I have absolutely no interest in ever having children because they're awful, disgusting, and scream. But other people's, fine, lovely.
Well, yeah, you get to play with them and then,
and then they go home.
Back. Yeah.
Well, one of my friends always said, like kids, because other people's kids, because you can give them back.
Exactly that. So yeah, no, she's joining my army of children who seem to think I'm their best friend. When we all know my best friend is Jay, who is only mentally 5. Okay, maturity 5. English. Let's do wrestling.
So, yeah, this might be the first time you've listened to our podcast, and as such, you would need to know that we have a tier list, which is the system on how we give our reviews of the entirety of BTE and Elevation and the individual matches and an overall score for Dynamite based on the power of letter maths. Mr. Strange, I believe it's just a short one this week.
It is after
explain the tier list.
After my many hours of no sleep, let's see if I can get the letters in the right order. You all know a good tier list. They're all over the internet now. They come from computer games, which comes from the school system in Japan specifically, because Resident Evil brought it over. Anyway, we started our lowest rank match. That's a D rank match. It's a shitty match. You've mostly played on your phone or talked on Facebook Messenger with your mates about how much of a bad match it was. You've not had a good time. That's as low as we go, a D match. C rank match is what we should expect to be the average match. This means it's good. It's a good match. Often when I'm saying it's a C match, it doesn't sound like it's a good match, but we do mean it's good. You may have looked at your phone a bit, but otherwise the stuff in the ring's consistent. It's solid. You know why the wrestler's there. You're happy with the match. Good time. From there we rock up into a B. B is what we quite commonly know as match plus 1. Match plus 1 has definitely got story going in. Hopefully got story coming out. You don't really look away that much. You see some cool stuff. The wrestling is just crisp, on point. No botches you pick up. Everything's just a bit better than good, not amazing. That's where we roll into A for amazing, or match squared, as I'm going to call it today.
Oh, fuck off.
Match squared definitely has story, and it's got good story, and I care. The match is really good. It should be a best match of the night. I mean, obviously, we want more A-rank matches. We want all the matches to be A-rank matches, but traditionally, A is the best match of the night. It's got all those spots you love. It's got all those strikes you love. It's got characters worn on their faces. You're just fucking happy to see the experience. And from there, we rock up to our top-tier match, the S-rank match, which surely in a War Games by AEW we'll be discussing
War
today.
Games. It's blood and guts.
It's blood and guts. S-rank match blows your mind. You talk about it for ages. It's got wrestlers like Pentagon and Mayu in it. The moves and spots are immense.
What about Kylie Sane?
Okay.
And Io Shirai.
It's a fucking good lineup in that match, I'm just saying.
Mate.
You will talk about it on your podcast consistently for over a year. You will send clips to your mates when people who don't watch wrestling say, what should I watch about wrestling? It's not real. You should show them a fucking skeleton ninja versus a bunch of Japanese assassin women. That's the kind of thing we want from our S-rank match. We want the threat of the end of the careers of the dead man and a male stripper in a cage. You know, that kind of shit. Stuff that goes on forever. So D, shitty. C, good. B, very good. A, match squared. Fuck you, Muir. And S, the best things in wrestling. God, I'm tired.
So
Pointless, bro.
Moving on. News. Nothing major. AEW. Just a couple of little bits. Daniel Bryan contract expiring.
Yeah,
may have
boy.
expired, and has said is suggesting he is done with Dubsy.
Yeah, it looks that way. He's his contract is apparently up, and is already up, and he's been doing some backstage things because some people were like, "Is your contract up soon?" And he was like, "I think it's already over." Basically, we know Daniel Bryan loves Kenny and refers to him as being one of the people who's going to change the industry of wrestling. Do you think Daniel Bryan needs to go in Japan? But with his neck, he'd probably just die. But yeah, no, possible future for seeing a bit of the old Daniel Bryan out in the expanded world of wrestling that WWE is not part of. Bryan Danielson, come back to us, you little bearded goat man, you weird hipster gnome. Yeah, wicked. I'm excited.
And the other piece of news, which is obviously we're going to get more into this later, but apparently WWE are annoyed with AEW for the Blood and Guts match because they believe it has set the wrestling business back 30 years, is the quote.
We need their bland, boring product for the rest of existence. Is that what
Whoa.
we're doing?
I bet people in WWE really loved one half of this match. More on that later. More,
yeah,
I think.
What, the second half?
I think
yes, Morg, the second half.
I think what set back the industry more is Braun Strowman having choo-choo noises when he runs and shit like that. But that could be just me.
No, that's not just you.
There was a moment when WWE could have set itself back 30 years or pushed itself into the future beyond all wrestling. And that was Eric Rowan's robot spider in a cage. He showed that off and people hated it. And the first thing they did, they smashed it, taking us back 30 years. Get rid of that gimmick. People don't like it. Not the Chad future plan of fucking bring that cage spider out everywhere. Have it roll down next to him. It looked like a remote control. I'd have fucking pushed that spider plan to the moon. I thought that was wicked. That's so 80s, 90s wrestling. Yeah, exactly.
It's what I want from wrestling, though, you know? Anyway.
Right.
The spider plan was from the future.
So, quick shout out. Social media. Nothing interesting this week at all, Mr. Strange.
There's an 1.5-hour video by the Nightmare Factory on their recruits that I went, I should watch that. That'll be really good for our social media.
You remember that it was the Nightmare people.
And then I didn't. So it might be good. It's on YouTube. It's got a picture of Cody and some other people on it. Yeah, Nightmare Factory. Their recruits, a video about them. Maybe watch it. I didn't. Social media.
We're so professional.
We need some wrestlers to have a comedy for, like Hangman and Chuck, don't we?
Oh God, Chuck! Yeah,
our first
exactly.
ever
Those
social
media.
People. Our first ever social media. We need something like just a bit silly.
Chuck killing Hangman's horse.
Sorry about your dead horse.
So dead birthday horse. Moving on. So time for our reviews. It's going to be a shorter show this week. We're mainly just going to hit with the reviews. I have a feeling there'll be a lot to talk about at the end.
Yes.
So we open as always with BTE, or Being the Elite.
That's a thing we review.
It was a thing. It was a thing I watched this week.
Sort of happened, didn't it? The Bucks are definitely heels. Ooh, look at them healing. I enjoyed.
Is there a section on shoes again?
Yes,
they
mate.
talk about shoes again?
Two sections on shoes. Most of this was shoes. So I was very infused in my boomer way of not being infused about shoes.
We're millennials, not boomers.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it
Gen
starts
X
with them going
bitches.
on it starts on with them going on about their new shoes and how much money they've wasted and all this jazz, which works for their characters. I'm happy with it. I enjoy them being asshole heels, but I'm kind of bored of it. Then they spend around an hour trying to get a ball out the ceiling, maybe more like 2 hours. That was kind of tiring. Then we go over to the Dark Order, where 10 comes in because he's just lost his match against Darby and his mask ruined. Unfortunately, he has no needles left to sew it up because he used all his needles before the match.
Oh God, Five's going to be a dad, isn't he?
Yeah.
Just remembered. Sorry.
Then Uno just screams, "No wonder you look so big," after he says about his needles. Reynolds, unfortunately, took his eye off Silver while he was washing his hands and he ran off because that's what Silver's like, apparently. Stu's going crazy because the girl he keeps seeing apparently in the side of the
That's
screen.
my new favourite thing. I think the Stu Grayson hallucinating Anna is the best thing they've got going. Genuinely entertains me. Sorry, carry on.
And then Uno's screaming about how they're losing viewers because Hangman's not on the screen currently, which made me laugh. Then
Wonderful.
Five goes on about being pregnant, if I remember correctly.
No, he lost his virginity.
Oh, he lost his virginity, yes. Yes.
10, but 10 denies it.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't cheat on John.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wonderful.
And then they go searching for John in the room. Then we move on to Nick Jackson doing a trick shot that he obviously spent too long doing.
Oh, the roof one was great.
I've got to say, it was very cool. I would give him the cue. It was it works well. It was cool.
It works well with his nonchalant face he likes to wear as well.
It's plain face that he just pulls when he's doing things. Yeah. Then we move on to the beautiful people, where Peter is missing. So they go searching for Peter, and it looks like Caesar is sucking him off, but he's actually just trimming his mustache. And then
tips.
Yeah. Then Rolf Ziggler's kind of confused by the whole situation.
I quite like JD Drake as their straight man.
He's great.
It's bringing me quite a lot of joy. We said this about Brandon and Peter at the start. The actual dark BTE sort of people who can just sort of shitlord about, have a bit of fun, and not take themselves seriously are the best things about it.
Yes, man. Then we move on to the Elite in the back of the limo. My favourite comment from this was Gallows screaming, "The kids think we invented Too Sweet. We're the wolf pack, baby." And then they move on to try to show them how to do the Elite hands gesture instead of the Too Sweet hand gesture.
Oh, they're scissoring. That's right.
Yeah, but then they just start scissoring each other. And then the Young Bucks just look at them and go, "Are you always this horny?" And they just go, "Yes." And then Gallows goes on about his hat being a jizz bucket. And then, then Anderson just looks at him and goes, "That was even too much for me, mate." And then they go away from them.
I love that as the kid away, and Anderson's like, "No, it's too much."
I think they just make their goal to break their mates in the promo set in these sections, which is why it's all dick and wanking jokes about making them look like 8-year-olds.
Just trying so hard to keep straight faces at them, but they're just, big children. Then we move on to Stu hunting the girl, and then he thinks that he's seen Anna, but it turns out to be Will Hobbs.
That was a great switch they did.
Yes. It was really good work. Then we moved on to Nia speaking in tongues at people to distract them while Vicky Guerrero from underneath Ryson's jacket was pickpocketing people.
There wasn't too much with it until Cesar Bonone was slapping the hand away. I don't know, something about that just really made me chuckle. The fact he didn't he was like, no, but nobody knew what happened. And the fact that an entire Vicky Guerrero was in Ryzen's robe, obviously.
Yes, mate. Then we move on to the Bucks and their stupid shoes that are run on an app. I hate how everything these days has to have its own app. And his shoes were running out of battery, so they would come untied when they run out of battery.
Literally back to the future. I have laughed at people. I'm a book fan. I like books. I'm not a Kindle e-book reader person.
Yeah.
I can appreciate people want them, but I'm always like, what if your book runs out of battery? Well, it's got 7,000 books. You read it more than one at a time? Just carry a book. Your shoes running out of battery. Shoes.
Hang on. Can we just go back to, as a person who reads books, you don't have more than one book on the go at a time, Strange?
Mate, he doesn't even have one book on the go at a time.
Well, currently, no. My reading has significantly cut down since I got a partner with ADHD.
That's fair.
But no, I read. I'll generally pick up like X giant novel, read it in 2 days, and just move on to the next one. I'm a really fast reader, so
I used to be one of those terrible people that have like 4 books on the go at once. I
Who
used to
does
be
it?
really bad.
I cannot understand how your brain can comprehend it, but fair play. Maybe it's a goth. Oh no, Ruth's not gothic at all.
Usually, one of them will be a book you've read before that you're just going to visit old friends. It'll be a comfort book, if that makes sense.
I don't understand that either. Books are read once and they either go on the shelf or they're given to somebody else.
Or they go in the bin if they're bad.
Anyway,
Except
sorry.
for 22.
Should we get back to...
So yeah, so the Bucks have stupid shoes, and that's the end of it.
It was a bit of an up and down one. Like a lot of time was wasted on the Bucks when everybody else was. We could have had another best friends mailbag, but the Stu Grayson bits are fucking phenomenal. And...
Yes, they are really well done. I just don't care about the Bucks' shoes. I get where they're trying to go with it, but it's just not for me.
Whoa! Sometimes we see about Scorpio Sky shoes.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Not this week, but yeah, a bit of a mixed bag. Infinitely skippable, except for that Stu Grayson sketch, which you should go watch because it was a brilliant.
And considering they do it with no effects or anything, they do some very good camera cut.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you reckon? C?
Yeah,
low C.
And I can bin this book because I've finally finished one more wrestling book. On to the next wrestling book. Right.
So moving on, now it's that time of the week. What is it called this week, Mr. Strange?
What do you mean? What's it always been called? I didn't write one down this week. Oh, it's literally pain. We'll call it Schrodinger's elevated. If 2 people in a ring and you know who's going to win, is anybody really elevated? There we go. Schrodinger's elevation. We've always called it that. Boys, it was a rough one. Jesus. I spent most of this one drawing memes, except for a couple of matches. So that's how high tier this elevation was. Right, so we open up with Miro versus no entrance Will all day.
Oh, I think Will all day's got this, boys.
He got some events in, and then he lost. Hooray! Right, now next. the only match that matters on this card.
Really?
Yes, and I think it was a well done
show.
An hour 40.
Fuck.
Yeah. And there's like 12 matches as well, so we're averaging like 10 minutes a match. Right, so this match not only, I think, elevated somebody cleverly, but also did not hurt the competition. It was Abaddon versus Rio. Rio, not Riho, my little girl Cardo, who I love so much. Not like the most badass match I've seen, not the most fun match I've seen. Rio had some good stupid faces on. She got bitten. Abaddon seems better.
She's also been carried by Riho, so you know.
Yeah.
She is
the match was fine.
Yes.
However, Abaddon won.
Yeah.
Which gives Abaddon, who has had a consistent win rate, but not fought that many people of note, shall we say.
No one with actual stats, yeah.
Has beat Rio, who has been shown as dominant since she arrived for a Shida match. Rio didn't look weak, and because Abaddon's been shown as consistently strong. I think it gave Abaddon that buff that we've not really seen her get from any other opponent without hurting Rio. So I don't think you necessarily need to watch the match, but I think this possibly should have been on Dynamite and given more time and a bit more attention because it is building your new mega heel / zombie Abaddon.
Undertaker character, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And she did do a Undertaker style sit up to avoid the guillotine leg drop, which was pretty cool, to be honest.
That is cool.
Mox fought Andrew Palace. No entrance for Andrew Palace. Gets a bit of a fence in. Quite nice to see Mox being NJPW. Mox still. Match was fine.
Okay, cool.
10 fought D3. D3 got an intro, came out to his music.
What?
Yep. And D3 got a whole 2 strikes in. Obviously, he lost. The most interesting part of this match is, what is 10's most iconic move that he does?
Fine Buster.
Cool. Tony Schiavone called that a power bomb.
How?
I know, Big Show corrected him, but...
I'm no wrestling expert, don't get me wrong. I shouldn't be on a podcast, but I know the difference between a power bomb and a spine buster.
I know the least about wrestling. Oh, go on, Morg.
It's not like Tony Schiavone's been calling wrestling matches since the 80s or anything. You know?
No, he's only had 40
Big
years
Show was like...
It's not like he called the match for the first ever Blood and Guts.
But yeah, Big Show was like, spine buster, you know, like Arn Anderson, spine buster. Otherwise, lame match, completely skip it. Orange Cassidy took on VSK of Massage Envy fame. No intro for VSK.
I imagine this would be good.
It would have been if it hadn't ended instantly. The few minutes of fighting was solid and fun because they know each other from the indies, and a beach break was hit and it was over.
That's because Orange Cassidy's not allowed to do anything except have his finisher.
At least his pack match will be great. His patch match will be good.
Yeah.
FTR took on Devon Dudley's kids. Solid enough. They let the kids get some offense. They elevated them, which is nice. They did make them look good. It's a bit deep. Seeing as everybody else comes on Dark Elevation just to fucking annihilate somebody before their match, seems a bit weird that they had a more depowering match before Blood and Guts. Like, I don't want depowering. I wouldn't have booked this match, basically. No. But blessed FTR put the kids over, and then it ended, you know. Great. Maddie Renkowski took on Nyla Rose because they've had a bit of story after they were tagged and then fell apart and such like. Maddie got a hot start and then it was over.
Ooh, spicy.
Nick Comoroto, average 16-year-old schoolboy, took on Baron Black. I just wrote down, that's my entire review of that match. Oh, God, that's all I wrote. Red Velvet took on Areha Tehaka. I'm sorry if I've mispronounced that, if you're listening. Or Nick, do apologize. Nick Jackson, that is. To her for me. No intro for Reha, or I'll just call her Tehaka. I'm not so sure on the first name. Dime's look, though, she's Samoan or Polynesian or, some form of Polynesian ethnicity, which is obviously just builds you for wrestling. She got some offense in. It was short, and then it was over. Private Party took on some people who I missed the names of, and they didn't have an intro, so they looked good, though. They got some good offense in, a little bit of elevation from their big lads as well. Then it was over. Thunder Rosa, took on Willow Nightingale, who looks cool, got big purple hair. No intros for her either, though. Got a little bit of offense in. Then it was over. Can you see a theme, boys? Can you see a theme?
Lord.
Yep.
QT Marshall versus Dylan McQueen. No intro for him. I just wrote getting worn out for that review. Chaos Project took on the Gun Club. Obvious. Little shorter, but somehow a little bit more fun than everything else I'd seen. They had a bit of a laugh. The usual from both of them. Gun Club pick up a win. Serpentico got thrown and didn't want to be thrown. Some funny spots between Austin and Luther. Bit of a laugh, this one. Actually, not terrible. Austin and Luther shouting at each other for a set of scenes and stuff. Just a good, soulful, fun wrestling match. That would have been a fine, mid-show filler if it was a bit longer. Then, most tiresome match in the world. A match I was bored of before I saw it.
Yeah.
And there were only Colt Cabana and 5. 2 wrestlers I really enjoy watching versus Matt Hardy and The Blade. Haven't we seen this match about 7 times now with Matt Hardy tagging with everyone except, not having tag teams in there?
Yeah.
It's exactly the same match you've seen between all these people. There was some shenanigans from the Hardy people. Then they got dragged out by the Dark Order people. There was some distraction from Ali. Matt Hardy can't really wrestle in anybody's style. Colt wasn't that fun. Blade would be really good if it wasn't the same match. And then Hardy tapped out 5 again in the same move, in the same place, like he did in his singles match against 5.
Sweet.
That was Dark Elevation, boys.
Oh, yeah, cool. It's over.
That was it. That's if I had to recommend anything, I would say Abaddon versus Rio was lightly entertaining, should have been given more time, should have been on the main show. Chaos Project versus Gun Club, I'd give them a 15-20 minute match and just let them fucking roll. And FTR and the Dudley Kids would actually be really solid and elevating if it wasn't the exact opposite of what every other match was.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely skippable. There you go, boys. Sorry about that. Sorry, it's not that. God, Muir's just you don't have to watch it, mate. You just have to watch BTE, and we all watch that because it's a good laugh. Because it's got.
Mate, I'm depressed just listening to that.
Don't worry. So we're gonna get some hype for good or evil. Hype is coming now.
So, time to move on to nothing from Dark this week. So, time to move on to Dynamite.
Just skip it, boys.
So it's Blood and Guts, JR Schiavone, Excalibur on commentary, Nakazawa and Omega versus Mox and Eddie. Callis says Kenny isn't here, so Nak will wrestle alone. Then Kenny obviously jumps Mox and Kingston. Mox and Kingston beat Nakazawa after Kenny decides to wander out of the ring. I'm going to open up now because normally I go last, but I gave it a C because there was a match there, but it's with the Rider that none of this made any fucking sense, and they completely pissed all over everything I defended them for last week. So part of me, if you two both give it a D, I'm just going to side with you due to them pissing over when I stuck up for them last week.
I'm actually
I'm
actually kind of with Morg because I did give this a C. It has a good start, and there was a lot of good comedy faces and a bit of fun. Very clusterfucky, but solid. Did find myself waiting for a match to break out. I really enjoyed Eddie's power-up face after Kenny had thrown him about a bit, and then he slapped him on the corner, and he just all walked out like, ugh, and I was like, that's pretty good. A lot of good sets of moments. Didn't care for the match. I gave it a C. I think I'm on the same page as Morg. There was a lot of stuff here that was good, but the pacing and writing wasn't great.
No. My main notes on this was Kingston should really teach the younger wrestlers how to be more grounded and actually feel like they're in a fight, because he's so good at making it actually feel like he's fighting someone instead of it going from spot to spot. And that is something some of the wrestlers in AEW do miss. So that's my main note from it. I did give it a low C. It crawled over the C mark, but it was a load of bollocks before anything really happened.
I think we're all on the same sort of page. Yeah. It looks like we've all got very similar notes of, I didn't hate it, but if they'd have done all those spots with a match, and I know there was a match, but there wasn't. On the other hand, can we hype up how glorious in the little post-match bit, Matt Jackson's clothes were?
I was going to get onto this bit afterwards. I thought the Bucks look absolute dimes, and they should keep this look.
Yeah, elite beatdown on Mox and Kingston, which also left me a bit cold. Now, it's worth pointing out that the first hour of this show and everything up until the Blood and Guts match had been pre-taped, and the audience had Tony Khan had come out, told the audience that that's what would be happening. If anybody didn't hear this, then they were welcome to a refund, because obviously they were just going to be. But please react to the things you see as you would. So all the crowd reaction we got was from the live crowd.
Good.
Yeah. So 5 people asked for a refund. YouTube very hyperboled it with a lot of the sites certainly that I watch. Going like, AEW gives refunds. They gave 5 refunds, which, as we were saying before, that sounds like 5 people who heard exactly what Tony Khan said and thought, we can get our $30 back.
I mean,
who wouldn't take a free refund?
Yeah, exactly.
You get a free refund if you want. I'm in. Maybe that's just for housing a state of me.
Oh no, this billionaire's son won't have his 30 quid off me.
So, following on from that, QT versus Cody Rhodes with Arn Anderson. Cody wins with the figure 4, and then a Go-Go comes out and attacks Cody. Thoughts and scores?
A bit of a weird one again. Really solid start on this. Felt like a fight. We had some good chopper. We had some good brawly. Cody did a back rake. I love a back break. I didn't hate the arm spot. I really cheered it. Yeah, it was all right. A lot of cheating from Cody and Arn and Velvet, though. Like, quite a bit of cheating. Solid enough, but missed a little bit of ring excitement for me. And I like to think I'm the person who's like most into the brawly stuff and least into the high spotty stuff. And I was like, is it? Especially after the quite heated start. After they started fucking about outside the ring, it just seemed to drop in pace. QT pulls off a crossroads, which we all know isn't a finisher. We've seen everybody kick out of it.
Yep.
A lot of great shows of strength, but that rolling tombstone counter thing, when it hit like the third one, I was like, this is a bit silly now.
Mm-hmm.
And we finished with a figure 4. Why didn't QT just roll over? It was fine.
Roll over.
It was fine. The start had better pace than the end. We had some story. I quite like Blessed Face Anthony Ogogo coming out afterwards to punch an American and put a Union flag over him. Not a Union
We're
Jack.
taking back the damn colony.
I gave it a C again. Like, I can't say I hated it, but I did go, oh, this is good too. It's all right.
I thought the double crossbody was one of the worst things I've seen in wrestling, where they just sort of slapped each other in the middle.
It's one of the least safe things I've seen in wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that. That's the opposite of a controlled collision.
I want to also know, how the fuck did Cody manage to cut himself during this match? How the fuck did he manage to bleed?
I think it was hard way because it was. I think it was accidental because it was quite early, and I was like, normally he mostly won, you know, especially with a lot of heel shenanigans, which.
It was like a Hogan level of bleeding, just fucking out of nowhere. So it must have been like hard way, but it just made me laugh. I gave it a D because I'm so sick of this story, but reasonably it's a C.
Come on, Morg, what you got?
Oh, it was a C. Much the same. There's nothing I can add to what you've said.
No.
What is it about matches starting well, finishing poorly? We're going to discuss a lot this week.
So, following on from that, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky promo. Darby attacks them. Page and Scorpion throw Darby down the stairs. What did you think of this as a little segment?
I think this is the best Darby one they've had in months. Just him getting the shit kicked out of him with no Sting saving him. It was a breath of fresh air.
It started off rougher for me, but I slowly became a lot more entertained until the ending that made me feel a bit bad. Scorpio Sky quoting fucking Batman Forever Riddler Jim Carrey.
Was amazing.
I was like, are they super villains now?
Yes.
I'm not sure of the gimmick of lol, I injured you either. I mean, like, all right. I do like these two together, though. Then it went dubsy dub. Scorpio Sky hit a man with a whole bin. I mate Carl, who doesn't watch wrestling, was round when this was on, and his exact line was, my goal in life is now to be strong enough to hit a man with a whole bin. The steps roll looked fucking rough. I think Darby kicked off badly on the second bounce.
Yeah.
Ruth was calling. We were like, "Where's Sting?" And we were like, "Things have escalated. Sting's just coming out with a fucking gun now. He's gonna call in some American civil rights and just start blowing people away."
Yes.
I enjoyed it. I think the Dubsy Dub building, Dubsy Dub sections were pretty fun.
Yeah.
It did drag a bit with watching Darby quite clearly injured on the stairs, and I don't think commentary knowed what to do. The promo was a bit up and down. The beatdown was good. I think I'm going to stick with a solid C again. I'm going through this up. I was entertained, but it was a bit of a roller coaster for me.
All I'm saying is it should have been RoboCop with Sting. Like it was, whatever the fuck that was, like in fucking when he was still surface Sting.
I can't remember.
Come out and save Darby, then just start shooting them.
Have you seen the Keith Lee meme from Keith Lee in NXT?
No.
So what happens is, I think it's No Dimes, Finn Balor. Devlin.
Miller, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I think it was him, and he's just beat somebody down or something, and all of a sudden, just Keith Lee just appears up behind him, rising up from the rope.
Yeah.
And it's so I really wanted Lance to do that, to just rise up behind the other two, because I was like, this is a time to steal a meme off Dubsy.
That would have actually been
it would have just
good.
been
That would have been better than what we got here.
Yeah, that would have just been really cool. And you even could have cut away, and we still could have had no actual what's going on. But yeah, I really wanted that. But yeah,
Should have beaten up Sting to Saturday so we could beat up them on the way. Then we'd have a definitive answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all right.
It's all right. Going for a low C then, boys.
At least Darby feels like a baby face. Who needs to get his comeuppance?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
he didn't have his dad to protect him. Moving on from there, Britt Baker with Rebel versus Julia Hart. Britt wins with the lockjaw. D squash from me. If you want to give it any other score.
Fucking hell! How many Hearts are there? Stu Hart is like the fucking Genghis Khan of wrestling.
She's not
related.
JR actually said she's not from Calgary.
Yeah.
In case you were wondering.
Right. Jesus.
But
anyway,
this was
Sling
our
Blade looked pretty
women's
good.
match for the week. This is all our women's stuff. Thanks. Yeah.
Oh god, it was.
Yes, mate.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Oh, I'll just write that D down. Britt
Yes.
Sling Blade looked fucking good though. She was so high and that bump
smooth,
went
yeah.
down.
Still not a penta sling blade.
No, it ain't. But you know.
It's getting there. That's from me. Watch that match again. It's only like 40 seconds. We'll be all right. Just watch that first Sling Blade. From bad to good.
Oh, the best part of the night, boys. The Taz bit's back.
So yes, techniques by Taz about Christian Cage. What did you think? I was guessing you two would have loved this.
I fucking love this bit.
I used to love it in the past because everybody kept trying to tell me it was serious. And I was like, nah, it's got to be satire. There's no way. With the big fucking arrows. Taz just shitting on Christian's moves was pretty fucking lol. Want to give it an A because it made me laugh, but it's arguably a B. I love Taz. Everything he has touched now. Now that Taz knows about comedy wrestling, everything he touches is gold.
Yes, mate. He missed a trick, and I gave it a B myself. It was great. I love him.
Brilliant pace break as well.
Yeah.
Lovely little bit of a different style thing. Because I looked up, I went, "Oh, this is back," and then expecting the description of the moves, and instead he was like, "Oh God, look, he could do this better," and I was like, "Brilliant, wonderful."
So on from that, Varsity Blondes versus Jurassic Express versus SCU versus Acclaimed. SCU win with the BME. What did you guys think of the match, and what score did you give it?
Oh, geez. A bit of a weird one, this one. A bit of a clusterfuck for me. We did get a great rap from Max Caster at the start, and he did do a 4chan shout-out. He said, to the young cooks, I said it, good lad. A little bit of a shout-out for the fans is always good, no matter who your fans are.
And in 10 years' time, you'll be on Darkside of the Ring. Made me fucking laugh as well.
Yeah, just brilliant.
Yeah.
Aren't Jungle Boy and Kaz good together?
Yes.
Aren't they great? Just fucking great, blessed start-off wrestling from Jungle Boy and Kaz. We had a huge clusterfuck. Max Caster ate shit as usual because, he's a baddie. Luchasaurus got to come in and look like a monster, but that over-the-rope chokeslam almost went fucking wrong. Someone almost died there.
Go wrong.
There was a lot of good stuff in here, but it was so clusterfucky. I gave it a C. I wasn't displeased, but we don't need 8-man matches all the time. And if you do, make it 2 teams. Nobody. The only gelling that really stood out to me was Jungle Boy versus Kaz. That's the only point where I went, oh, some good fucking wrestling, Mm-hmm. A lot of cool spots, a lot of hot tags, bit of comedy selling. Owens got to look good. Everybody got to look good in their own way. Just not quite there, in my opinion. Good, but not great. See.
I just called this massive tag bollocks as the title for this bit. Yeah, it's solid. It was obviously going to be SCU that won this because, for the story of them not being, if they get defeated, they have to split up. But yeah, it was all right. It had some okay wrestling in it. It was just a bit clusterfucky for me. When you go over a trios match, for me, it just gets a bit too, white noisy. So I don't know. It was just a C from me.
Come on, Morg. You're our favourite. You're normally our clusterfuck fan.
It was a high C. Yeah, it was a high C. I enjoyed it. It was it was fun. Nothing really stood out other than Kaz and Jungle Boy, which you've already it was enjoyable. I didn't look at my phone. I wasn't one way or the other, but I wasn't looking at my phone one way or the other. I wasn't going, oh my god, guys, did you watch that match?
You didn't have time to look at your phone.
Yeah, and
I didn't have chance.
And I wasn't going, oh, this is so what's happening on Facebook right now. So yeah, I'll give it a high C because I did enjoy it, but it didn't break the Wrestling Plus one.
Very okay show thus far, like entertaining enough, but and a few fucking roller coasters.
I believe the correct term is it's all right.
Correct.
All right, yeah, we've not put out the same bit for a while, but that's probably going to be our end of show review. Let's see how this goes.
So following on from that, we have an IWGP US title promo package.
I was so excited when I saw Nagata.
Yeah,
this was fucking great.
Take the belt off him.
Before you guys go into this, I don't know Nagata, but I am really excited for this match.
Exactly.
Off the back of this, and this did what a promo package needs to do.
Exactly.
And I therefore give it a possibly an A or a high B at least, because me, who doesn't know him, is excited. And I liked slightly heelish Mox, who's also slightly baby-facey Mox, depending on which side of the ocean you were on. I thought he was cracking form on his promo.
That's why I gave it an A. This explained what Mox has been doing in Japan, showed a list of his opponents who you may or may not know. You'll know Lance Archer, he'd beat for it. Explained who Nagata was, what he'd said, and it had the quote of, I'm going to kick a hole through your chest, which is possibly the greatest threat I've heard on AEW. I thought that was wonderful.
Yes,
I'm gonna threaten to kick a hole in Mike's chest next time I see him. He's a friend I just like to threaten. No, I gave it an A. Good Mox. Obviously, balanced his character between heel and face for where he is. Explained everything. A really good promo section, like really solid. I loved it.
Yeah. I don't understand how they can do such good production like this sometimes, and then they do such awful production in some other places.
More on that later.
Yeah, this was perfect. It got Nagata over. You knew exactly what he was. He's an old veteran that's coming in and talking shit. And Mox was just like, nah, I'm not taking that shit. Fuck you, I'm going to kick your ass, I'm
going to kick a hole in your chest.
Yes, mate. Which is perfect. And I gave it an A. I thought this was perfect.
That's our highest rank of the...
I was just thinking that's our highest rank so far.
Yeah.
Surely we're going to go above that by the end of the show.
Well, we'll get to that. It's complicated, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's complicated. Then we had Shivani and Omega segment about the World Championship match, where they said who it was going to be. It's going to be Pax versus Cassidy, and Kenny just completely blew off Cassidy, and then Cassidy turned up. What did you guys think? I'm just going to be straight with you. I just thought this went far too long.
I gave this a D.
Yeah.
Because I'm so sick of everybody going, oh, it's Orange Cassidy, he'll never win. And it's like, he's beaten Jericho twice. He's got the record. You should still take him seriously. I'm just bored.
The only thing that excited me in this promo is the fact we're getting Pac versus Orange Cassidy too.
Yes, mate.
Obviously, Orange Cassidy has to win this one for what's going down. Kenny was pretty.
Pac to win. I'm sorry, boys.
He's not gonna. I want Pac to it. But good shitty Kenny at the start, but it fucking dragged. And if you watch Tony Schiavone, he kept looking over to other people and looking shrugging and stuff. So I think Kenny was clearly over time.
Yeah.
It felt a little bit high school theater for me again. And he's better when he's got other people to bounce off and be that shitty person. When he's just sort of left to talk and talk, goes on a bit long and he sort of repeats points.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give it a D. Just short and concise and loud. That's all you need. Give him some coke. Give him some cocaine. Bring it back.
So speaking of short, concise, and loud, after that we had a Miro promo.
I love it.
I'm not sure Darby's going to be able to fight. Yeah, this was solid. The line of "let's see what happens when the man who doesn't mind dying fights the man who doesn't mind killing him" was a great conclusion. Yeah, really good. Snappy enough. C or a B? I'm undecided. I'll let you boys.
I gave it a C because I'm very happy with it, but it was very generic. It was very generic. I am Russian heel. I know he's not Russian before anyone says it, but you know.
Nobody knows where Bulgaria is.
I do.
Yeah, again,
somewhere in
somewhere in
Russia.
I'm going to say it's a C. Mainly because it was just a solid promo. It didn't do that. Miro will get his B promos when he's on the cusp of turning face and starts doing his slightly sillier stuff, and his sense of humor comes across.
I actually
then he will
see
start
more abusive friend.
I want to see him be. I want to just destroy Darby next week. Just absolutely destroy him.
Yeah, I think that might be happening, and I think I think Kip is going to save Darby, and I am using the inverted commas. Not
Darby
actually,
just needs
not
to belt taken off him.
Not so.
Cody booking.
Yeah, I think Kip's going to interfere, and it's going to be a DQ.
You're fucking right as well, because then he'll destroy Kip because of that. Fuck's sake.
He's not losing that belt on Dynamite. Come on now. He's not losing it on Dynamite. He's kept it long enough. He's big enough times. He has earned losing that belt on a pay-per-view.
Okay, well,
arguably that means
get that belt off him.
Arguably that means they should have booked the match in a different way. I'm not saying that, but Darby has carried that belt pretty well. He's over on the internet. He's a pretty liked. I'll say face. I won't say baby face because he does do a lot of chewing, biting, and emo-y things. He deserves to be beaten on a pay-per-view.
Yeah, fair. But I'm guessing Miro may get a rematch after. I'm guessing DQ
I think it's Lance's turn.
Oh, fuck off.
I think
Hey, don't shit talk my giant tank man who randomly beats people up.
He doesn't need a belt. Miro could really do with a belt.
No, I agree. Either that or it's going to go to Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page. Anyway, moving on.
It's time. It's time
for...
I'm going to sleep, boys.
The Blood and Guts match. The Pinnacle.
Just call it War Games, please. I hate Blood and Guts.
Versus the Inner Circle. Sammy and Dax start. Sean Spears then enters. Then Ortiz. Then Cash. Then Santana. Then Wardlow. Then Hagar. Then MJF. Inner Circle surrender after MJF threatens to throw Jericho off the cage, which he then proceeds to do. Thoughts and scores on the match.
Before we start the match, I'd like to say that Ortiz and Santana should always wear their dead president's face paint.
They look fucking sick.
It makes them look so cool.
I also liked the Inner Circle all coming out in
their penitentiary,
with their local, from where they're from's prison. That was cool. That was just nice outfit.
But the setup, the character building, the designs in costume, all wonderful.
Yes.
What a wonderful, high-strung, high-paced, fast match we get at the beginning. Dax against Sammy was fucking wicked. Choppers and slaps felt brutal. Sammy looked fucking phenomenal, and I really enjoyed those two together. Rope bounce cutter was when he bounced between the two rings was wicked. Even when it other FTR who came in next.
No, was it Sean Spears?
It's Sean Spears.
Sean Spears.
Yeah.
He had a chair.
He had a chair. He just came in with his chair. Yeah, it was great.
A design chair with his symbol on, because he's the chairman. Wonderful. Little bit of work. It was great. Fucking Ortiz came in with like an angry goblin, and it was wicked. Got a standing Spanish fly off the ropes.
Yep.
Everybody's fucking tagging was great. I can't really build up any of them. All of these are wicked.
Carry on. No, carry on. You're on Santana. Carry on.
Santana came in looking wicked. And I should have mentioned Santana when we were discussing underrated wrestlers in AEW last week.
No, that's a good point.
Even in the break, when you expected it to slow down, we got some chopper to keep that pace going and keep it brutal without battering them too much. And Wardlow came in and he looked fucking immense.
This is where the match pinnacled for me. These two next come-ins, Hager and Wardlow, were fucking great on their introductions.
The throws Wardlow did on Sammy didn't look like wrestling moves. They looked like he literally just grabbed him. The first one, he just sort of grabbed him and threw him behind him, and Sammy sort of like half shoulder landed on his head, and I was like, oh.
Sammy's dead?
Yeah. And then we get the exact opposite from Hager's entrance, where he just comes in like a juggernaut.
Yes, mate.
It's just and Hager's got we did shit on Hager at the start, and he's come on great. He did a bunch of his MMA stuff, and he looked like he belonged to be there. And throughout all of this, there was constant background moves. People were chopping each other, wrestling each other.
I just want to cut in quickly because there was something that the Raptor said, which was, I never thought I'd cheer for Hager putting on the ankle lock.
Mate,
no.
Fucking Jake Strong or whatever he was in Lucha Underground, that was the most undimes fucking gimmick ever. And now I actually enjoy him.
Yeah.
Then we get a few... then it starts getting a bit weird with the Jericho entrance, I'd say. Mm-hmm. Jericho's weird... triangle on the pillars, try to choke spot on Spears. Looked a little weird. Maybe would have been better with a different camera angle. I'm not too sure. It was nice seeing the edge of the ring pulled up. That's a rare peep, which I kind of enjoyed. And we get that turned on its head afterwards with the counter and the double one. Then all the faces just started winning. Just winning and winning and winning. I mean, Wardlow tossed Santana so high into the air, he almost hit the roof of the cage, which was pretty brilliant, and then took a massive beating down. But then the rest of the match, it's just the faces rolling around on the floor, holding their heels in a variety of holds, and maybe doing some punches. Billy does a bit of dubsy-dub. Then they spend about 15 minutes, or at least it felt like 15 minutes. It felt like Randy Orton and Edge were climbing to the roof of the cage. I appreciate Jericho is 50.
Yes, mate, but...
Then we got a Walls of Jericho, a lion tamer on top of the cage.
No, it was a Walls. It wasn't the lion tamer. It wasn't Walls.
I wrote down.
It was the Boston Crab. It wasn't the one that looks like it really fucking
the one
hurts.
that bending over the body,
Yeah.
And it just really started petering out. And I was like, what's everybody doing whilst they're climbing onto this cage? Surely showing us the match whilst they climb the cage would be more exciting than showing us the climbing of the cage whilst the match. And when all of the faces have won, and they've just kicked shit out of the heels for the last third of the match. And then they roll about on the roof for a bit. I saw Jericho look up to tell MJF what to do. That was pretty great. And then Sammy surrenders and he throws him off the roof anyway.
Yeah.
A lot of potential injuries I'm not going to comment on the bad camera angle and the cardboard floor. Jericho's 50. Come on, he needs a mattress.
Yes,
I'd need a mattress if I fell off that.
Oh God, yeah.
A lot of injuries. We had people bleeding hard way quite a lot in this match. Bald FTR started bleeding when he was being slammed between the two walls by Sammy. That's when he started bleeding. A lot of injuries for an underwhelming... What a fucking brilliant start. Up until...
the match beyond.
Yeah, up until the point where Jericho got in, I'd have given this a fucking S on raw brutality, blood... interesting use of pulling the sides up, great entrances for everyone, gimmicks being remembered. I'd have given this a fucking S. I'd have talked about this like I talk about Penta in the Black Lotus triad.
Maybe.
And then it just fucking petered out. They focused on the wrong thing. The faces weren't just winning, they were annihilating the heels. And I feel like the pimple felt a little bit underwhelming in the last third.
I just don't care about them now. They got their asses kicked.
And I don't... If it was just on what these boys have done to their bodies and the story effect they're going for, I'd only roll it down to an A. But because that last third was so disappointing, I'm rolling it down to a B. I cannot give a bad rank to that first 2/3. They were fucking gold. That last third, yeah, I'm going to have to give it a B, boys. Maybe one of you two can win me back round to being more positive.
I'm sorry, mate.
Okay.
Till the match beyond, which I don't know what they call it in non-war games, in Blood and Guts, but until that point, it was fucking fantastic. When they did the Avengers standoff, if they just ended the match there, it would have been an S. But then after that, it just fell apart, for me. But yeah, I don't know. I had such enjoyment out of the first half, though. It's hard to give it a bad rank, but I'm going to give it a B as well, because I'm sorry.
I've never rooted for Sammy as hard as I did at the start of this.
No,
Yeah.
they did the perfect start to a War Games. They had the really energetic babyface actually struggling against these two people to keep, this, the story going. It was fantastic. And every time a new babyface came in, they dominated for a while, but then the heels wore them back down because they always had the number advantage, which is a good War Games. But then as soon as it got to the match beyond, it just fucking fell apart, mate.
Oh, Morg. This back. You're our most positive team member.
The problem is, I can't disagree with you. So I've got this written down as an AS. An A, and it was an A or an S, for the match up until the Raptor doesn't like lots and lots of blood in matches necessarily unless it's well done. And we were glued to this. We were like, this is amazing. And I'd seen a spoiler which had been about major disappointment from fans. And I'd mentioned it mainly so we both, and normally I try and keep anything away, but I hadn't had a real spoiler, so we didn't know what it was. We just knew there was some big disappointment, and I'd only mentioned it to her because I didn't want her to get disheartened at the end. And all the way, like, this is really good. How the, and I think it was like, how the hell can they screw this? And then it was like, oh, this has got a bit slow. And I was like, yeah, it has. It's just slowed down. We've lost all the pace. It's like, but to be fair, they're probably absolutely knackered. They have really put on the work in this. If I appreciate where they were going with the heels getting the real serious beatdown, and then MJF having to be such a squirrely little shitbag to threaten to throw Jericho off. I think it would have been better for MJF to just then, when he'd got that win, to just throw Jericho face down into the edge of the cage and not go for the I'm going to throw him off anyway, and try and go for the Mick Foley pop. Because I don't think you were never going to do what Mick Foley did, and I think if you're
not going to kill a man to try and do that spot. So
if he'd just thrown him down onto the top of the cage as if it didn't matter.
He's not bastard. He's just won through shenanigans.
Yeah, I think that would have been better. And then if you did want to do the throwing somebody off the cage and you wanted that big ending, you could have had Jericho just get up behind him. And I'm back to that Keith Lee meme that we were just talking about. You could have had Jericho get up, crawl his way back up to get the big pop for the baby faces and just shove MJF off. And you had then the heels would have won, which is what needed to happen. But Jericho would have got the big pop. MJF could have gone through that floor. It wouldn't have mattered that it was a crash barrier. Because then you could
just have the camera looking down, not side on.
And you even could have done the trick you did with the Kenny, heels have outsmarted you again on the if the worst came to the worst. I didn't know what score to give it, and I think you've called it for me. I think it's got to be a B overall if I was ranking the first half of this match up until the face off, the Avengers face off. It was an S. It was just absolutely. I was glued. Yeah. But
Muir.
These people that are going, but the cardboard ending are fucking morons. The match had fallen apart way before the cardboard shit. Sorry.
That could have been fixed by having a different camera angle.
Yeah, to be fair, the cardboard thing just didn't bother me in the slightest. They're throwing him off the
No,
top of
I
a
don't
roof.
know why
yeah,
there was. Yeah,
You really thought he was going to get thrown onto concrete? Fuck off.
yeah, exactly, mate.
What kind of
Christ.
morons are you?
Yeah.
I did look at it and go, that's a bit obvious, but that's
Yeah.
the cynic in it. But, you know, just shifting a camera, for me, if they'd have watched if they'd have booked 3 more minutes of wrestling match to watch whilst Jericho and MJF scaled the cage,
Could have been
probably
that.
would have been fine.
Yeah.
For some reason, they were so obsessed with making us watch the cage, watch them climb the cage whilst people just rolled about on the floor hugging each other. It just wrecked the pace of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at least have a bit of a fight on top of the cage. Don't just do submissions. I don't mind who's going off, realistically. As long as you've got that, I'm not going to I'll throw him off. We give in, throw. Either one of them can go off. Just have a bit of a match up there.
Yeah.
You know. I even looked at the big squares in the middle and I was like, they look like the different coloured graphics bits on computer games. I bet somebody's going through them. They didn't.
No.
Yeah, I thought they were going to do that one. I thought someone was going through into the...
I'd have been excited by that. I'd pop for a redone classic, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the 90s, and throwing a 50-year-old man, as you said, off an edge is a bit rough. But yeah, just pacing. God damn it!
Wardlow below there to catch them.
Yeah, exactly. Wardlow's caught Cody falling off the fucking cage. You can stand between 2 sets of ropes and get hit by a man.
Yeah, exactly.
He threw Santana like 70 feet in the air. He can take anything. Him off the roof.
There you have it. That's our review of Blood and Guts, this week's Dynamite. Power of letter maths. I'm pretty sure I know what the score is going to be. Yeah,
Should be a C.
It was.
Give me a soundbite, Morg. Give me a soundbite.
It's all right.
That's how I feel about the show. Arguably, it's better than it feels in my heart. In my heart, it feels worse because of the letdown potential.
Yes,
I'm not angry.
Disappointed. A friend of mine the other day, I went to go and see him for his birthday. We had some socially distanced outside drinking, and he happened to mention, I hear that AEW screwed up the ending again. And I was like, not really. He's more of a Dubsy guy, and I was a bit like,
I don't think they screwed up the ending. I think they screwed up the last third of that.
Hating.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is like when people get mad about the prequels of Star Wars and they'll be like, it's because Jar Jar Binks is bad. It's like, no, those films have gone far off the fucking rails before Jar Jar Binks has a chance to ruin it.
Yes,
they're
mate.
bad with or without him.
Yeah.
Yes. So there you have it. That's our view. What did you think? Let us know. It's going to be a short show this week, just with the reviews, etc. Say again?
We've all been busy.
Yeah, it's been quite a...
So you get a short one from us.
So yeah, it's a short show this week. I'd like to thank Anchor.fm for hosting the podcast. If you want to find us, we are Wrestleopinionated on YouTube, Anchor.fm and Spotify. Mr. Muir.
Thank you very much for listening. As always, it's been a pleasure to talk about bollocks to you people. And if you'd like to send anything in or questions or anything like that, please send them into wrestleopinionated@gmail.com. WrestleOP on Facebook or WrestleOP1 on Twitter. Tell me how much you like Mayu. Tell me why Mayu's the best you could have at wrestling and anything like that. Over to you, Strange.
Obviously, Mayu is only the best because Kagetsu has retired.
It's
anyway,
correct.
He's joined me. What a chat. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this podcast more than the ending of Blood and Guts, please give us a thumbs up, a like, a share.
Oh, you bully.
A share. I know, right? A share, a subscribe, a little bell thing, whatever it is on Anchor and the little top tier bar on Spotify. We really do appreciate you listening to us. Send in some stuff, as those boys say. We sometimes struggle for subjects, especially if none of us have slept over a weekend. But yeah, cheers for listening. We appreciate it. Back to you, Morg.
All's left to be said is goodbye and good night.